abandoned for 50 years in the open desert. This supersonic legend was once called the missile with a man in it. These wings are literally razor thin. If the structural edge is completely eaten away, structural integrity is entirely gone. Finding an F-104 out here is a miracle. It was the first jet capable of reaching Mach 2. The military parked her here in 1976. The desert spent the last 50 years sandblasting her metal shell. This high-mounted horizontal stabilizer handled incredible aerodynamic force. Now it is just a perch for desert birds. The wing skin is incredibly thin to reduce drag at supersonic speeds. This corrosion might have compromised the internal spars. 50 summers of extreme heat completely fractured this plexiglass bubble. It crumbles under my fingertips like an eggshell. The entire afterburner assembly was stripped out by part scavengers long ago. The exhaust tunnel is packed solid with desert sand. The expansion joints have pulled apart completely. Intense heat cycles have popped dozens of critical structural flush rivets. These access hatches protect what's left of the internal avionics. The latch linkages are frozen solid by mineral scale.
Tumbleweeds and desert rodents turn this nose gear bay into a bunker. We have to clear out every scrap.
Shocking the high-pressure fluid valves. 50 years of storage has locked the precision stainless cylinder rods inside their housings. The weight of the engine bay has squashed this tire flat against the calish. The rubber is completely cooked through. This massive T-tail layout held the plane straight at Mach 2. The internal torque tubes are locked fast by scale. The boneyard chapter is officially over. We're hoisting this supersonic speed machine and heading straight to the restoration shop. Breaking through the surface crust, the wire bristles pulverize the alkaline scale, exposing the underlying aircraft alloys, shaving down the deep oxidation scars. The aggressive disc tracks the panel lines, uncovering solid silver trails, forcing open the avionics hatches. The impact gun delivers rapid rotational blows to shock the seized threads loose. The sun-cooked plexiglass cannot be saved. We dismantle the latch rails to clear the entire upper cabin deck, gutting the ruined panel cockpit dials. Decades of heat have completely cooked the wiring looms into brittle thread strands. Abrasive media blasting acts like a complete eraser, lifting old camouflage paint to uncover raw, alclad skin trails. The reactive gel liquefies the old squadron paint. Watch the historic markings curdle into a thick sludge matrix, stripping the skin to clean boundaries. The high-pressure rinse sweeps the sludge away, revealing pristine aluminum sheets, cutting away the deep pit damage zones. We establish true square borders to anchor our fresh patch plates. Truing up the jagged margins, this creates a flat landing zone on the internal spars for replacement skin panels. The strip down and tear down are complete. The supersonic frame is entirely bare. Time to forge the structural repairs. Deep cleaning the component bays. We pull every speck of abrasive grit out before new parts are seated. Polishing out internal pit lines inside the intakes. Seamless surface airflow is absolutely critical for supersonic operations later. Layout work for the new avionics doors. Every line adheres perfectly to original Lockheed blueprints from 1958. Cutting our blank sheets by hand. The tough aviation alloy stock demands serious physical compression down the tool line.
Bending the structural alignment flanges. One single continuous draw path keeps the grain structure from tearing.
Crimping the panel margins. This creates an offset step, letting the new sheet drop dead flush with surrounding hulls.
Dressing raw cut profiles. Stripping away microburrs reduces stress concentration spikes along our upcoming structural paths.
Popping out the locator holes. Keeping row metrics perfectly accurate ensures direct alignment with hidden framework ribs underneath. Sheet pieces are fully prepped and organized. The tracking table is set. Time to execute the primary reconstruction. Welding down underbelly sections. TIG arc passes demand extreme speed control profiles to avoid overheating thin supersonic panels. Feeding the aluminum filler rods into the puddle. Overlapping metallic rings solidify instantly, welding structural integrity back together. Quenching the hot weld line. The sudden thermal drops lock the molecular boundary, permanently securing the underbelly patch. Planishing out intake dents. High-speed mechanical impacts true up structural lines, restoring proper aerodynamic inlet boundaries, stretching the new hatch skins. Back and forth draws across polished steel anvils thin and crown the alloy layout sheet. Incremental pressure tuning. Subtle wheel tightening levels out tool steps, ensuring a perfectly straight, streamlined curvature face sheet.
Dressing the flange returns manually. Pinpoint impacts work the metal edge until borders drop completely level with layout guides.
Machine planishing the fairing face. Rapid microstrikes iron out raw rolling irregularities, creating a smooth satin curve.
Test fitting the custom access panel door. The wheeled contour fits the narrow bulkheads without a single gap. Locking the layout elements with temporary clips. Cleco pins squeeze the panels rigid before final boring passes occur. Measuring seam margins down to a decimal point. Uniform gap metrics ensure stable panel behavior during thermal expansions. Shooting home permanent skin rivets. Pneumatic force collapses the shanks flat against our hidden interior bucking bar blocks.
The driven rivets rest perfectly flush inside their skins. Aerodynamic continuity lines are restored to original fighter specs. Primary block sanding passes. Coarse 80 paper cuts joint variations, merging newly forged metal boundaries with factory plates. Upgrading the tool step to 120 grit. Fine refinement cuts smooth out deep texturing scratch pathways. Guiding the random orbital tool. The spinning mechanics eliminate tracking lines, leaving behind a perfectly uniform matte zone. Rubbing carbon guide dust. The black powder catches microscopic depressions, revealing truth data before paint coats fall. Block truing with fine 220 paper. Flat lands clear back to silver, highlighting low micro valleys dark. The guide block indicators are completely erased. The skin profile is flat, aerodynamic, and ready for primary coatings.
Clearing final sanding residue. A sticky tack rag pulls the fine alloy filings away before primer. Structural repairs are locked. The raw supersonic frame lines run completely straight. Moving inside the paint block next.
Shooting matte gray epoxy primer. This non-porous shell coats the alclad, sealing out any environmental oxidation threats.
The liquid mist levels out instantly across driven flush rivet heads, masking the layout inside a gray stone skin.
Foundational primers are locked down. The pencil jet looks like a seamless graystone missile model.
Wet sanding the primer floor. The block removes tiny texture spikes, creating an ultra-flat surface for upcoming color. The squeegee pass exposes glass flatness. Every trace of grain and bump is leveled out perfectly.
Mixing supersonic silver lacquer. This high-gloss coating brings the classic 50s natural metal interceptor finish back alive.
Applying natural metal color coats. Liquid silver completely buries the gray base, reflecting the spray booth arrays beautifully. Shooting white wing accents. Overlapping gun lines lay down the traditional white flight surface markings cleanly.
Pulling tape lines clear. Razor-sharp borders separate white wing caps directly from the main metallic shell fields.
Shooting glossy clear coats. The fine aerosol mist flashes out into an absolute liquid mirror protective lens finish.
Completing the wet passes. 3 rich clear barriers encapsulate the supersonic graphics, sealing them from abrasion.
Machine buffing the paint steps. The clear transitions flatten completely, merging colored insignia panels flush into the silver skin, removing final cutting compound trace blocks. The clear coat lines reflect like mirrors. Livery work is complete. Unleashing high-contrast highlights. Fine metal compounds polish out boneyard weathering, cutting a chrome shine back onto the needle nose. Polishing intake highlight borders. Raw aluminum faces morph into fluid, mirror reflective chrome paths under the wool blocks.
Dropping the reconditioned fighter seat home. The massive backing frame slips onto internal guidance tracks with a dense clunk.
Seating reconditioned dash instruments. The new clear lenses replace the boneyard fracture glass blocks, showing absolute numeric data. Reinstalling the iconic J79 afterburner nozzle core. The massive variable geometry pedal ring slides smoothly inside the tail. Twisting flight safety wire. Securing the afterburner rod links ensures full mechanical locking performance under thermal expansion. Mounting the fresh crystal cockpit bubble canopy. The fractured boneyard shell is replaced with complete, optical clarity paths. Seating brand new canopy weather strips. Squeezing the rubber tracks guarantees an airtight vacuum capsule to lock out layout humidity. Locking down the cockpit roof enclosure lever. The frame rails squeeze firmly against our new rubber seals. Seating the main rolling wheels. Pristine supersonic combat tires completely replace the flat plies we dragged from boneyard soil. Axle safety checks hit target torque. The running columns are certified to balance the airframe stance proud. Unmasking the squadron emblem graphics. The vivid unit paint layout brings back the true interceptor soul of this machine. From an absolute weathered desert relic down to a pristine mirror finish masterpiece, the visual contrast is staggering.
The missing exhaust core is replaced. The variable layout pedals glint like solid polished weapon steel.
The shattered window bubble has been fully reconditioned, opening up crisp visual vision fields inside the cockpit box.
No longer squashed flat inside boneyard dirt tracks, the fighter stands balanced on authentic tactical rolling gear layouts.
Presenting the finished F-104 Starfighter. The missile with a man in it, reconditioned into an award-winning static display finish.
The tailpipe mechanics look incredible. The pristine J79 afterburner nozzle anchors the rear hull with absolute mechanical authority. The wings run dead straight. The razor-sharp flight lines blend cleanly into the fuselage, with zero surface variations remaining. The nose profile is completely flawless. The polished steel probe spike cuts the room views like solid sterling silver jewelry lines. The cockpit interior is an absolute time capsule block. Every knob switch and indicator needles tracks true for preservation display standards. Rudder linkages operate flawlessly. The historical identifier stencils ride proud on a background of absolute flawless gloss lacquer fields. The air scoops are mirrors. Polished metal landing borders glint sharply, framing the intake ducts inside solid light. The T-tail assembly was frozen by 5 decades of desert sun. Now the control linkages move with absolute factory precision.
This ventral fin provided critical yaw stability during supersonic speeds. It was completely pitted, but fine compound saved the alloy.
The refueling port caps were completely caked in desert calish. We bead blasted the frames and machined brand new lock pins. These missile rails sit on the ends of wings only 4 inches thick. Every guide block was completely remachined from scratch.
Standing tall on repressurized gear lines, this supersonic interceptor locks down the presentation stage with absolute immense authority footprints.
The braking chute door mechanism was packed solid with boneyard sand. Now it trips open with an explicit mechanical snap.
The emergency canopy levers were completely sun-bleached. We mixed authentic aviation military lacquers to restore their stark warning colors. This opening feeds the 6-barreled rotary cannon. We retempered the protective steel shield plates to eliminate deep heat pitting.
Sourcing the internal radar indicators was nearly impossible. The CRT scope displays a pristine, authentic amber grid array now. The life support lines were completely rotted out by desert insects. Every valve block has been ultrasonically cleaned and resealed. The heavy main retraction gear doors cycle smoothly now. The re-chromed actuation pistons hold seal pressure at 3,000 psi.
Every single technical stencil graphic was accurately silkscreened. The data blocks preserve the aircraft's authentic operational parameters beautifully. The wingtop paint sheen is completely flawless. The brilliant white lacquer creates an unbroken aerodynamic reflection plane across the spars.
Rewiring the main electrical ignition paths took weeks. Every mechanical toggle now operates with an explicit factory-spec snap.
These auxiliary air doors provided extra breathing capacity to the J79 turbine. Every hinge leaf springs back cleanly now. Safety wire lock loops ensure hardware stability under flight conditions. A single loose union can depressurize the entire actuator array. Desert dust layers had completely pitted this optical sighting glass. We carefully diamond ground the block to achieve absolute visual clarity. These half cones slowed ambient air down to subsonic values before engine compression. The tracking mechanics are thoroughly reconditioned.
This stamped plate certifies the airframe's historical identity. This exact ship left the Burbank plant floor in 1958, locking down the drop tank release assemblies. The mounting lugs snap home flush with zero trace of boneyard deformation.
The lower fuselage lines run completely level. The hand-polished alclad aluminum casts an absolute mirror footprint across the gallery floor. The interior latch hooks cinch the heavy canopy framework down into an absolute airtight, hermetic cockpit seal, wiping down the red warning chevrons. The paint stencils stand out crisply, highlighting the intake danger zones accurately. The fuel ventilation lines are completely cleared. Every structural drain line has been meticulously wire routed and pressure flushed. The pencil jet profile looks completely formidable. Her streamlined lines slice through space even while parked dead still. We have successfully reclaimed a piece of extreme aerospace engineering from boneyard dust tracks. Her silver shell reflects perfection, attaching the Maker legacy block. This custom metal plate permanently certifies our complete restoration journey into the cockpit rails. The Starfighter is fully reborn, reclaimed from 50 years of neglect, restored by hand, standing immortal in the halls of history.